What's up, everybody? Late night owls. Thanks for joining in on the TogetherMess Big Brother After Show. What a night.
Oh, so much to say about tonight, but we're going to wait because we have a guest and we are going to bring him on right now. It's not the mystery guest.
Wow, you don't want to talk for 30 seconds or something?
No, let's bring Steve in.
I don't know if you guys know our guest. We definitely do. He's part of our podcast network. He is on all things reality. His name is Reality Steve. That's how he got the name. So let's bring him right in, I guess, and jump right into these couple episodes. Steve, you there, buddy?
How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
There he is, man.
Thank you for being here, Steve.
Hey, I just want to say something right off the bat. I don't know if you know this about me. I don't want to say I'm fairly new, but I started watching Big Brother on season 21. So I have never seen you guys. I'm well aware that, Jordan, you're a winner, and then you guys were on season 13. You did Amazing Race. But I've only got about 6 years, along with all the celebrity Big Brothers, but I've only got about 6 seasons under my belt. So I'm still kind of learning strategy stuff here, but I do have plenty to say, obviously, about this season. But I just wanted to give you a heads up of where I am in my Big Brother world. And I only started watching 21 because I knew Holly Allen from The Bachelor world, and I saw that she was on the cast. I'm like, oh, I might as well watch this season of Big Brother. And then, ironically enough, I started dating someone from that season a year later. But yeah, interesting stuff.
From Big Brother, you dated?
Yeah. I dated Kat Dunn for a good 9 months. It was a COVID relationship. Let's put it that way. It's COVID.
Oh, it's nice to have a friend during COVID, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good, man. It's good. Real quickly, we could kind of divulge and then into you before we get into the episode. How did you get that name, Reality Steve? What got you into reality television?
I know this is going to sound not the most well thought out name, but I covered reality television, and I just decided, well, let's just go at Reality Steve. Now, this goes way back because I started covering the Bachelor franchise on the first season of The Bachelorette. So there had been 2 seasons of The Bachelor that had aired.
Okay.
And I didn't watch it, but I was aware of it. So this was early 2000s, like 2003. And then I just started covering The Bachelorette after a couple other reality shows, Joe Millionaire and another one back then. And then someone said,
Joe Millionaire?
Yeah, the original.
So old.
The original, like Evan Marriott, Joe Millionaire. So early 2000s. And I was writing, and all it was I was writing an email recap to my friends, and it was just about Joe Millionaire. And it was very different humor back then, but it was very crass, but it was funny and just giving my thoughts because they were tricking 20 women into thinking that they were going to marry a guy who was going to inherit 300 million when he made 20 grand a year. So I was just like, I got to see this thing play out. And so I was just writing a recap in an email to my friends, to 3 friends. And then they just started forwarding it to people, and people were asking, can I be on your email list? I'm like, I don't even know who you are. And then the next dating show to start after that ended, once Joe Millionaire ended, they said, are you going to continue this? And I'm like, well, what's the next dating show? Because dating's very easy to make fun of and watch it on reality TV. And it happened to be Trista's season of The Bachelorette, the first season of The Bachelorette. So I just started writing that in email form. And then after a while, I was like, I got to get a website. Back then it was called a blog. It wasn't even called a website back then, I don't think. And I just said, I need to come up with a name for myself. And I went with Reality Steve. I know. Really original. Really, really.
There you go,
a lot of thought into that.
Good little backstory. I love that. And we could talk more different reality shows because we're into reality as well. But let's stay on Big Brother because that's what everyone here is up late watching. Let's dive into this. I know you started watching in 21, you said, but I kind of want to start with Rachel. I know she's gone. That was a couple of weeks ago. What did you think of Rachel's gameplay this season before we get into what happened yesterday and today?
See, this is interesting to me because I have had Rachel on my podcast 3 times. But it was to talk about traders, and I would talk to her about the Big Brother seasons that were airing in the past. But again, I could never go to her and say, how did it relate to you? Because I never saw her play. I'm aware that she was a winner, and I'm aware that she had some very viral moments on the show, but I never watched her seasons. So it's interesting. This is the first season I've ever seen Rachel Riley play. And just based on everything that I do see of her, they're like, she's changed. But I just found it a little bit amazing that somebody who the whole house all season was saying, we have got to get her out, never went up on the block, which proved to me that she was playing the best game of anybody. And I am so disappointed in CBS and the production team that you would send, not that they could control it, but that they would eliminate anybody from this season when it wasn't a vote out. It just, that really bothers me. I know it bothers a lot of people online that I can't believe Rachel Riley, when she gets voted out of the season that she was basically running the show here, that she didn't even get a chance to get voted on by her peers. And, I had to do some research because I was asking my audience, I've only been around since season 21. Has this ever happened before? Has anybody ever been evicted from the house without ever being voted off? And
I don't.
It was like season. It was like season 13 or 16 or something like season 16, but it was on the never this late into the season. It was like literally first 3 days where it had happened. And so, no. And I find that disappointing that that's the way they went.
All right. So let me ask you this, Steve, before we get in.
Say it.
Let me ask you this, because Jordan brought this to my attention, and I know you probably don't watch our after show, but last week I was kind of mocking people in the, they write in questions and they're like, well, I think maybe someone else is the mastermind. Keanu alluded in the live feeds. People sent me that I was the mastermind. So people have all this speculation. I'm like, so you think Zingbot's somebody? Like, it's not anybody. And then Jordan sent me this thing. So I want to hear your theory on this, Steve, because I was like, it made me say, a little bit. Can we pull up that picture, Ian, and show kind of what we're talking about here? I don't know if it's loaded yet, but afterwards, let me tell you what we're talking about. The mastermind has a key in his head, right? And Rachel was wearing a keyhole, and then Rachel was wearing a key necklace, and the mastermind has a keyhole in his head. And somebody online kind of brought up this rumor that maybe Rachel was brought back to be the mastermind. Maybe that's why she went out the way she did. What are your thoughts on that kind of conspiracy theory?
Because I had friends texting me who have watched Big Brother, and they were like, Rachel threw that. And I was like, no, I don't think she did. And they're like, yes, she did. She threw that. And then one of my friends sent me that, and they're like, I think she's the mastermind. So then I started reading it and I started looking into it, and I go, wait, it's kind of like a good idea. I would actually, that's a really good prediction.
Yeah. Did you hear anything?
Because she took it like a champ leaving. I thought with Rachel leaving, it would be a little dramatic, and she wasn't. She just kind of walked off and said, clap for me. And people started clapping.
So are you saying with this conspiracy theory that from the second she entered the house, she always knew she couldn't and wasn't going to win?
I'm not here's my thing. CBS, when they bring you back, they give you some money, right? So they obviously paid her, win or lose. But if she won the money, she would have forfeited whatever they paid her, and she would have won the $750,000. I don't know. I'm just assuming that's the way the deal went down. So I'm wondering if they were thinking, you know what? Maybe we could let you into the game somehow and guarantee you safety or guarantee you like some other play. I thought that was not a theory till last week, and I thought about it. Then I started entertaining that a little bit. Does that strike you as anything weird or no?
Would that be fair to guarantee somebody who came back on the show a certain place? Wouldn't that be against the standards and practices or something like that?
Not a place. They can't guarantee her a place, but they could guarantee her a paycheck. They could say, you're going to make this for coming back for the season.
Okay. And now we're saying
if you win, you get the $750,000.
I would just say, based on the post-show interviews that I've seen her do with, Sharon Tharp and Mike Bloom and Dalton Ross, I don't get the impression, because those would have to be acting jobs for her to go on there and say how disappointed she was. And, you got to expect the unexpected. I guess at the end of the season, she could say, yeah, no, I threw it. Are you saying that if she did throw it on purpose, she's just never going to admit it to all of us? And this is like a
no
secret that she's keeping for herself?
All right, reality Steve, you're not buying into this. It was just the thing that all the people online are talking about. I wasn't bought into it last week, and then all of a sudden this came to my attention. I'm like, interesting. That's all. I thought it was interesting. Let's get to the people that were in the house. What did you think of tonight's episode, last night's episode? Who was your favorite going in? We're Keanu fans over here. I don't know who you're pulling for over there.
Okay, so I was cheering for Rachel up until she was gone. And then when Rachel left, I said, I don't know who in the hell is even worth crowning as a winner. Obviously, somebody's going to be a winner. But if you were to ask the BB alumni of this show, I would think a lot of them, if you were to say rank the 27 winners in the history of this show, whoever won this season, once Rachel was gone, would be in the bottom 5, because everything I keep reading online is this is some of the worst gameplay we've ever seen. They're so messy. However, I think since Rachel has been eliminated, I think there's one clear person that has now risen above and beyond everybody else, and that's Morgan. 3 straight POV wins, another HOH win tonight, basically manipulated Vince's HOH. I think she deserves to win. Whether or not she does is a different story, because she doesn't win HOH next week. She's not going to be able to play for it. I would think they're gunning for her now, because I don't think anyone wants to be sitting next to her at Final 2, because I think she wins now.
You don't think if it's Morgan, you know what? You might have a point. I do. I agree with you there.
The jury is,
you're right.
Though,
I agree.
And you don't know the people being evicted when they're in the jury. You don't know how they're twisting it. If either you're going to be pissed, you're going to be like, you know what, Morgan, and I'm mad at Morgan because of Vince, and everything could get turned around. You don't know if they're going to be bitter. You don't know if they're going to be just strategic and gameplay.
But so you don't appreciate Keanu's game, or like just how he's winning competitions and saving himself week after week?
He's a comp beast. He's got the underdog story going for him. But when I saw Lauren tonight talking to Julie after she was evicted, and Morgan, she knew was gunning for her, and she still said, sitting up there, I think Morgan is playing the best game. That said a lot to me that at least one jury member isn't bitter. Lauren has every reason to never vote for Morgan, because Morgan is basically the reason why Lauren went up as a renom last week. And then obviously Morgan put her up sitting next to Keanu, or was it Keanu? Yeah. And then Keanu won tonight, and she renommed Ava. But Morgan's the full reason why Lauren is out of this game. And Lauren sat there and talked to Julie and said, Morgan's playing the best game. So that said a lot to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think she was a little shell-shocked. You know, I know what it's like to walk out of a house. I know what it's like to be blindsided, go out on that second double eviction. It was my second time playing. I didn't take it. I still don't know. But you're kind of in shock. You're kind of in shock. And I felt like, just looking at Lauren, how docile she was in the house, she was kind of blinded by the lights, so to speak, walking out of there. So I'm not sure she knew what she was saying, to be honest.
Well, I think, didn't Kelly say it was 73 days that they've been in
there?
Yeah,
it's a long time.
It's a long time. But Kelly, I felt like her eviction with Julie, she was like working the crowd, and she was so lovable on there, and it made me sad. Lauren, like you said, I felt like was a little in shock and wasn't really answering the questions. Was just like, okay.
Yeah, you know what's funny is Lauren up on that chair is exactly the way Zingbot described her. Like, she's just she's not the greatest at in her confessionals, and clearly when she was sitting there with Julie. But I will give her some credit, because that is the first time, you know, she's had to be live ever since premiere night and whatnot. But that has been the criticism of her online all season long, is that she's just kind of boring. And the 2 times that she was HOH, the amount of indecisiveness that she had, like she could never make a decision. She was being led by all these other people. She would talk to somebody and say, oh, that's a great idea. And then somebody else would tell her something completely opposite. And she'd be like, you know what? That's a great idea too. Oh, I don't know what to do. Like, it was too much for me. Like, you got to make a decision in this game, right? Like, you guys have played it. You have to be definitive.
I don't understand why she was so with Vinny, like wanting a Final 2 with Vinny. I'm like, cut him loose. Yeah. He's too indecisive, and the crying and the whining, and he's the victim. And I'm like, go away, please. I was hoping he would get evicted, from the double eviction. He gets on my nerves. And it's funny because I was rooting for Vinny at one point in the season.
Yeah.
And now just the crying and the indecisiveness, I'm just like, no, stop. And I wish she would have teamed up with Ava or Kelly and they would have got rid of Vince.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen now. I am happy. Like I said, I'm Team Keanu at least. Yeah. And I'm so happy that Keanu win in this game. I agree with you that if Keanu and Rachel left, the show would kind of, talking about winners of all time, it wouldn't be on the list. That's for sure. But I think Keanu and Rachel, my opinion, were the stars of the show this season. Rachel puppeteered everything. Keanu with his wins. I think they were definitely the stars of the season, no matter how it shakes out. So my question to you, Steve, is when it comes down to forget winning now, when it comes to America's favorite player, who do you think is going to get that?
I think Rachel's going to get it. I really do. I think she's going to win it. And, you know, in the beginning of the season, because, you know, this is something you guys would probably know better than me. I don't watch the live feeds, but I follow the transcripts on the Twitter accounts that just so I can get an update of what happened. I always read who won HOH, who won Power Veto, if it was used and all that. So I always knew what was happening going into Sunday's episode and Wednesday's episode and seemingly Thursday's episode based on who won BB Blockbuster. But I'd say for the first 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, Ava's winning America's favorite player because of the way CBS was editing her. She was goofy. She was the underdog. She said a bunch of fun. She had a bunch of funny one-liners. I was like, oh, America's going to absolutely love her. But then things started being said on the live feeds by Ava that apparently has turned everybody off. But I don't know how much of the live feeders are the voters on, like, how much of a say would you say that the live feeders have in voting for AFP? Because maybe they don't have as big as a say as I thought they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a certain group that watches online. We don't watch online either. We don't watch the live feeds. We just watch episode to episode, and we try to stay away from the spoilers so we could watch, with the family kind of. So we stay away from that. So I have no idea. I have no pulse on who is the favorite at all. I'm just saying favorite in our house, and I've told the audience before, but Keanu was our favorite from the beginning because Maui is one of our favorite movies, or Moana and Maui's character. So my kids love Keanu, and so we kind of just been pulling for Keanu the whole time. So that's why we're Team Keanu over here.
What do you think about Vince and Morgan's relationship with Vince having a girlfriend? I want to hear your thoughts on it.
It's absolutely wrong. It's creepy, and I will fill you in on something because you guys aren't paying attention to the live feeds. His girlfriend, Kelsey, has basically already laid out there, we're done. Now, I don't know if Vince is going to get off this show and basically use the same exact tactics he's used on this show, which he's very good with his words and he's very convincing because he has manipulated so many people into thinking, hey, you're coming with me to the end. But his girlfriend has been very vocal. Number one, she said on a social media post, I didn't even give him permission to flirt this season. So this is, I can't believe I'm watching this. His girlfriend's brother. That's Riley. But his girlfriend, put it this way. His girlfriend, Kelsey, is not happy and has basically made it known I'm done with him because of the way he's acting, because of the way he's acting with Morgan.
What if he wins the $750,000?
What if he wins $750,000? And let's be like, oh, wait a second, maybe I'll stick around because he is unemployed. Oh, wait, now he's got $750,000. She hasn't said that, but the way things are going for Vince, I mean, he doesn't think he's winning. He thinks he has solidified himself as final two. He doesn't think he can beat anybody, according to what he said this week in the house. Yeah. So it's really, this season, at least for me, I feel like there's so many things after the show ends that I am just as interested in just as much as who's going to win this show, because you got Morgan dealing with not Morgan. Vince has no idea. Zingbot was the first person to kind of throw it out there because Zingbot brings up stuff that I guess the public is kind of talking about, which is why they kind of focused on the Morgan and the long hugs and, Vince Keanu throwing the word cheat man's out there and this isn't Cheating Island. And Vince and Morgan are hearing that for the first time this week, and they're running through their heads. wait a second. People think that there's more to us than just friendship, but I don't know about you. Jordan, if you were Kelsey, Vince's 7-year girlfriend, and you were watching these long hugs in the house, and look, they haven't kissed, they have not hooked up, but I don't know of any reason. Like, if you want to hug somebody in the house, I totally get that. You're hugging them before you go to bed. Quick hug, good night, whatever. They just stand there and hug for 15 or 20 seconds, and it's not because one of them needs to console the other one either. It's not like she had a bad day and she is just crying her eyes out and he went to console her, or vice versa. They just stand there and hug each other for the longest time. I'm with Kelsey. I'm like, I'm not approving of this. I don't care what you say. And
it's weird.
We watched the show together.
He would be dead. Yeah. And then another thing I was thinking, if Vince is doing this on television, what is he doing behind her back?
Yeah.
I don't
if
know.
She was
I
gone.
don't know. They're gonna have to deal with that when they get out of there. But let's take some questions. Speaking to the audience, let's take some questions, see what they're thinking, Steve, and maybe we could break some of this down for everybody.
Sure.
Steve, as a newer BB viewer, what is your favorite BB comp tradition?
I would say I guess the wall comp, because that's one that I obviously have seen every year. OTEV, I'm not. OTEV is whatever to me. Zingbot is not even a comp. I guess that would just be a tradition. I've always had thoughts on Zingbot that I just don't find it remotely funny. I would say the wall comp. I would say the wall comp because it is pretty iconic. This year, I think it was 2.5 hours that Vince was up there, which was really, really impressive, which ended up being wasn't that the question tonight, which I wanted to bring up to you guys. I thought it was hilarious because clearly Morgan and Keanu did not pay attention to the question when they said, to the second, how long was the wall comp? Because it was just like from the time the thing went off to the time the horn went off until the time Vince fell off. How long? And Morgan said 120 seconds. That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I think she was thinking, I don't even know what maybe she was thinking minutes and they were up there for 2 hours. But they did say to the second, how many seconds did basically the wall comp last? And right away, Keanu wrote 1,800, and he was thinking 600 minutes times 3. I don't even know where these people come up with the answer, but they clearly didn't listen to the question. And
I'm telling you, man,
Keanu lucked out because he wasn't even close.
Steve, I tell the audience all the time, it's a different game when you're there and it's a live show. So you're laying around all week and all of a sudden you hear Julie's voice. It's double eviction. Everything's on the line. Your mind starts racing and doing things that you're not normally doing, so you panic. Yeah. And I thought that was Keanu's strong game early on because he never panicked during those vetoes. He just walked through them and got through them. I think that's a big key to playing in a lot of these competitions because you just got to slow down, slow your heart rate down, and play those games. But when you're in the moment, a lot of different things happen within your body. You get nervous. You do things you normally wouldn't do. You answer questions like Lauren when she walked out of the house, not beating her up over it. I just think that's natural for someone to do.
Yeah.
For Morgan to pick 2 minutes was unnatural.
How about the BB Blockbuster, the last one, where Lauren pretty much blew doors on Keanu and Kelly? The thing was, and I was just, did you see what Lauren was doing that Kelly and Keanu weren't? Lauren was using two hands. I'm like, Keanu kept doing one hand and he kept missing. I thought he would change it up. I was surprised that he wasn't seeing that dropping it with one hand. I think just the way you hold on to it and you grip it, once you release it, it slides out of one finger, which obviously moves the ball. And Lauren was smart to just hold it two hands and drop. And it wasn't even close. She had 4-1. I don't think Kelly or Keanu even got 2 in there. And they missed so many. I thought that was
11,
interesting.
It was kind of very similar.
A similar competition.
Yeah, similar competition where they had to drop a ball.
Yeah.
In the hole like that, right?
Yeah, and we had to run up. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
But I felt bad. They all seemed so gassed.
Oh yeah,
Kelly was the other thing. Gassed.
Yeah.
running back and forth like that.
Yeah.
Running back and forth and then having to jump into that pot of that pile of styrofoam stuff that you pack your
peanuts.
Yeah, the packing peanuts. Yeah. You had to go in there and then you had to run up steps to get to that point and then lean over and drop. But yeah, Lauren did it right from the get-go. And Keanu and Kelly never caught on because every single one that they dropped one-handed, which was surprising to me. I thought maybe they would just look over and see what Lauren was doing.
Let's take another question, see what the audience is thinking.
What about Kelly calling everyone out after her eviction? I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, she laid it out there. I don't think anything she said was inaccurate. She laid it out there and basically, didn't she say Vince has a final 2 with
me? That's
everybody. Yeah. Basically, she was saying Vince has a final 2 with everybody. You might want to, go after him. But yeah, it was interesting. It was good because she's been kind of a wallflower all season. Like she said when she was sitting next to Julie, I understand that I'm annoying and I get it. And but yeah, she's one that I think maybe earned some points out the door by saying that, maybe planted the seeds in some people's heads that maybe they weren't thinking about. I guess we won't know until we see the next episode. And if they start talking about, wait, did you hear what she said going out? I did not, I didn't know that. Maybe we have to think about this. But
do you think Morgan, since she said that walking out, and now that who is it? Lauren's gone. Do you think that Morgan might be like, he had a final 2 deal with everybody?
No.
Maybe I'll take Ashley instead of Vince?
I don't think so. What do you think, Steve? I think she's locked in.
I think she's playing a good game.
Yeah, she's playing a really good game, and she's starting to build her resume these last 5-6 episodes with 3 power veto wins in a row, and HOH, controlling Vince's HOH. Like if she's sitting next to Vince, not only do I think she wins, I think she wins 7-0. I don't even think it's close.
Wow. Against Keanu?
No, against Vince. If she's sitting next to Vince, because that's the 2 Vince says. I mean, he's told a lot of people, but more recently, because he lays in bed with, by the way, he sleeps with Morgan in the bed every night, but Morgan sleeps with her head at the foot of the bed, and Vince sleeps with his head at where the pillow is. So they've spent so much time together.
If you were numbers, Steve, which numbers would you be if you did that? Did you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
No one's getting it.
I know. I got you. I would be I'd be the 9. Yeah.
But so, going back to that point on yesterday's episode, I can't believe Vince put up Lauren in that spot. His number 2, he filled that seat with. I was so shocked when I saw that. Morgan convinced him to do that.
Yes,
to your point.
That was been like, this is where I can tell you what was going on. That was literally hours upon hours. And the show kind of alluded to it, saying how many times. But I'm telling you, on the live feeds, it was hours and hours of Morgan arguing basically, Vince, Lauren wants me out of this house. If you don't want to put up your supposed number 1, which is me, or if you don't want to put up the girl who is going after your supposed number 1, then I know where your allegiance stands. And she made it. It was an excellent point. Oh. And that's what eventually ended up. Now, trust me, Vince was sitting there fighting her on it the whole time. He kept saying, no, I'm not putting her up. There's no reason to put her up. If she goes up, she's going to stay anyway. Why would I put her up? And Morgan was like, because she's coming after me, your supposed number 1. So why wouldn't you want to get out the girl who's coming after your number 1? Which was an excellent point. And then she just kept beating him down with it. And she eventually convinced him. That's why he keeps saying Morgan basically controlled Vince's HOH, because she was the one that said, and she kind of gave him an ultimatum and said, look, I'm using my power of veto. So you either put up Ashley or you're putting up Lauren. And you put up Ashley, I know exactly where you stand, and essentially we're done. And I think Vince didn't want that. And he felt pressure.
If he comes in 3rd, someone's going to have to keep an eye on Vince when he gets out of the house. Seriously.
Yeah.
He's going
to come out of the house to a girlfriend that doesn't want him anymore and is pissed off and is expressing her frustration online. and then he's got whatever's going on with Morgan. I mean, they have not made out. They haven't done anything, but the hugs, the sleeping in the bed as much as they do, it's just, if I'm Kelsey, his girlfriend of 7 years, and I'm watching that, absolutely she has every right to be pissed off and be like, you have some explaining to do when you get out of there.
They're definitely gonna have that conversation when they get out of it. Let's take another question, see what the audience is thinking.
Who will get Vince out of the house?
That's a good question. I'm wondering too, because I feel like Keanu is somehow intertwined with Vince. Morgan's definitely intertwined with Vince. I don't know who's going to take a shot. I don't know if Ava would take a shot at him. I think Ava would rather lean to get Keanu out. So it is going to be interesting to see who does take that shot. Is Ashley going to take it?
I think Ava would put up Keanu and Vince.
Yeah. What do you think, Steve?
I agree with that. But the big one here is Morgan. Because I think Morgan, even though she has had all these conversations with Vince and he's telling her, you're my number one, we're going to the final 2 together, I think Morgan would turn on Vince in a heartbeat. I really do. Even though she has said she wouldn't. I mean, we saw it this week. We saw her saying, I mean, she told Vince to his face, yeah, I guess I will keep Lauren here. And then what did she do? You know, she kind of went after Lauren. She didn't end up voting her out because in the first eviction tonight, it was Kelly up against Lauren, right? Yeah. And Ashley and Morgan decided to vote for Kelly.
Right.
And Keanu and Ava voted for Lauren. No. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then Vince had to break the tie. Vince broke the tie.
That's right. And he sent
Kelly home because he certainly wasn't sending Lauren home because he didn't want it. Did you see? I mean, Vince was crying when they came back from that BB Blockbuster and he heard that Lauren won. Like, he was so ecstatic because he knew even if it ends up as a tie.
Against Lauren, the first one was Kelly against Keanu. He could have got Keanu out and he saved Keanu and got Kelly out. The first one.
But he didn't like Kelly because he knew Kelly was coming after him. And I think he knew that he could build a relationship with Keanu because Keanu has no one.
But I understand. I get the philosophy of, like, as Vince, you want a bigger target in front of you. I totally get that philosophy. But that was your chance to get Keanu out. I didn't want him to. I just thought it would have been a good game move to get him out because I don't know when you're going to get him out. So he didn't take that shot then. And then Keanu took it. If Keanu didn't win that veto, he would have been out of the house in that double eviction. That's what I think.
Yeah, he would have. But I think Vince is thinking Keanu is a shield for me.
Right.
Because everybody's going to be gunning for him. Yeah. But then I would also want to separate Morgan and Vince as well because they're a duo.
But with Morgan, again, sorry, Steve, I want to get you in here. But with Morgan, now Lauren out of the house, Vince is going to be like a puppy dog all over Morgan because she broke him. She definitely broke him with all those hours she put in and made him put Lauren up. And now he's like, I got nobody but you.
Do you think if Vince, let's say Vince made it to the final 3 with Morgan and Lauren, who would Vince?
Well, Lauren's out.
I know. I'm saying in a scenario, if they made it to the final 3.
He'd take Morgan.
You think he would take Morgan? I think he would take Lauren to the final 2.
No,
not Morgan.
I think, well, that's hypothetical. We could do hypotheticals all day. But I don't think to disagree with you, Steve. I think Lauren and Vinny are now that Lauren's gone, you're going to see them even closer.
Morgan and Vince. Yeah. And I screwed that up. Yeah. The first eviction tonight was Kelly against Keanu. I kept saying Kelly against Lauren. Because Lauren won the BB Blockbuster with the balls. But yeah, it was 2-2. And then Vince had a chance to eliminate Keanu, but he's closer to Keanu than he is to Kelly. Apparently, Kelly just didn't have anybody close to her in the house except Lauren was her closest. And I think Ava, she was close to as well. But yeah, I mean, Vince had a chance to get Keanu out. Keanu's the biggest comp threat left for sure. Although Morgan is pretty close, winning 3 power vetoes and an HOH.
What do you think about Ashley? Who is she going to go to?
I know. Ashley and Morgan are obviously close. Like, it's right now with the 5 people left, it's like Ashley and Morgan are close. Morgan and Vince are close. I can't say Ava's close with anybody left.
Yeah.
And Keanu is on an island by himself, who just basically has to win comps probably to get to the end, because now they're going to start. I mean, they've been gunning for him for a while. How many times has he been up on the block? So he basically has to comp win out to probably sit in that final 2. So
I think we're going to see Ashley and Keanu team up. Morgan and Vince. Ava's going to be on the outs, and somebody's going to try to pick up Ava.
I could see Ashley sneaking her way into the final 2 somehow. I don't know. Yeah. Not anything to do with her gameplay, just how she's laying back socially. And, you know, if they start battling it out somehow, I don't know how it's going to shake out, to be honest. I'm excited, like, as a viewer to watch. I don't know how that's going to all shake out with who's going to partner up with who.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, if the final 3, I think Vince's final 3, he would love to have Ashley and Morgan as his 2. But then I'm just trying to think, who would Vince take to final 2 if his other 2 were Ashley and Morgan? Who would Morgan take to final 2 if her other 2 were Ashley and Vince? And who would Ashley take if her final 2 were Morgan and Vince? And I think that's where, again, unless it's hard to say because we don't know who's going to win, but unless Keanu, you know, comp wins out, I think your final 3 is going to be Morgan, Vince, and Ashley. And I think Morgan would clip Vince and she would rather sit next to Ashley just because, I don't know. I mean, like I said, my mind changes a lot when I watch this show and I hear what they say on the conversations.
That's what's so great about the show is you change. Like, you can root for somebody in the beginning, and if they're still in the game towards the end, I don't know, they change. Like Ashley, I didn't like her gameplay, and then I liked her, then I didn't like her. Morgan, I liked her, I didn't like her, now I like her. It's just you go back and forth with people.
I think it's going to come down to, by the way, my pick to win for women was Morgan. So I picked her at the beginning, just
at the beginning.
So at the beginning of the season, that was my random pick to win. So I'm pulling for her. But I do think it's going to, here's what I think is going to happen. If we could throw predictions out there, this doesn't mean anything. I think it's going to come down to Keanu winning and having to pick between Vince or Morgan. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think he's going to take the finals. And I think he's going to take Vince to sit next to him in the finals because he wanted to take Rachel to the finals and win against the best. And if you're, right now there is something to be said for Morgan being the best.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come down to that, or at least maybe that's what I hope happens.
If that's the choice that he has to make, if the final 3 are Vince, Keanu, and Morgan, and Keanu is the one that has the choice on who to take to final 2, he'd be dumb to take Morgan because he beats Vince pretty easily. I think. I don't even. I think he wins 5-2, 6-1. I just Vince is even saying on the live feeds, I don't think I can win anymore because Lauren, one of my allies, just went home on, well, didn't go home on his HOH, but he put her up. And that was Lauren's whole argument to him. If I'm your number 2, or if I'm your number 1, why are you renomming me? Which was a great point. But that's because she didn't know that he's promised a final 2 to 4 different people, you know? So
yeah. And I got to tell you, I don't know who Rachel is close with. I mean, we know who she's close with in the show, but she said on her way out, and you know, we played with Rachel one year. I know how she feels, and I feel the same way. Like our season on 13, we played with her. She played the best game. So I voted for the best player. And I think Rachel will do the same thing in jury, but she's going to have some sway in that jury house to get the votes the way she thinks the game should go, being an ex-player, this her third time playing.
With that.
So I don't think a lot of people are thinking that, like, oh, this person's playing the best or that person's playing the best. I think Rachel's going to have a lot of sway in that jury house of who she thinks should win the game.
Is it safe to say that of the 5 people left, there's one person that clearly cannot win? And I think that's Ava. I just don't think that she's done enough in this game. She's not going to win. If she's sitting in final 2, she's losing to all the other 4. You can make a case for everybody else winning, although I don't know who Vince beats. I mean, unless you had a final 2 of Vince and Ava, maybe that's the only person that Vince could beat. But I don't even know how you get to a final 2 of Vince.
I think he burnt too many bridges. I'm with you on that one.
But if he's sitting next to Ava, if he's sitting next to Ava, that jury house is not going to want to award. I just don't think they could picture Ava Pearl as the winner of Big Brother. Like, you go down with the legends of Jordan, yourself, the Rachel Rileys of the world, the Taylor Hales, just, name all the winners. Ava doesn't strike me as the winner of this show, because for me, at least, and having never played this game, if I were a jury member, one, I would never be a bitter jury member. I would take everything into consideration. I would take comp wins into consideration, but I would also take social game into consideration, and I just don't think Ava even comes close on either of those to any of the other four. So she wouldn't win for me against anybody. Vince, I think, is just way too messy. He's a liar. He's promised too many things to too many people. I don't think he wins. I honestly think Morgan, Ashley, or Keanu is winning this season. And if I had to rank them, I'd say Morgan 1, Keanu 2, and Ashley 3.
What do you think Ashley did to deserve a win? I'm just curious.
Well, that's why I put her third in those three. I don't think she's done much. I think anybody going up against her in final two will say she rode the coattails of Morgan and Rachel for the longest time. She rode Rachel for the longest time. She hasn't really done much. She's not been a comp beast at all. Social game, it's been okay. There hasn't been anything that's really stuck out to me about her social game. But that's why I'm saying, like, I'm putting her 3. I'm putting her above Ava, who's done nothing, and I'm putting her above Vince, who's just been super duper messy and a liar to a lot of people. So that's the reason I only have her third.
But then again, going back, we could go in circles. But Rachel, if Ashley does make it to the final two, Rachel might have something to say with that, how tightly they were aligned in the house. Mm-hmm. But is Rachel going to go off of their bond or go off Big Brother play? And I still think Big Brother play wins over that bond. Just the time I spent with Rachel, just because she loves the game. Yeah. That's my opinion. I don't know what would happen.
And it would be dependent on who's Ashley sitting next to. Because what if Ashley's sitting next to Morgan? I think Rachel did become fairly close with Ashley and Morgan towards the end. I don't know who she was closer to. Maybe Ashley. I always remember, if I remember correctly, in Rachel's exit interview, because I always pay attention to the exit interviews to see who you liked when you were eliminated. Like, who did you say stuff about when you're asked, who do you think is playing the best game? I think Rachel probably is closer to Ashley, but game-wise, especially once all these people come into the jury house and say, oh, yeah, by the way, Morgan just won 3 POVs in a row, and she won an HOH. I think these last 2 weeks have built up Morgan's resume, and that's why I think she's ultimately going to win. But that's saying without knowing who won HOH, who's going to win HOH tonight, because if you're HOH tonight, and it can't be Morgan, because she just won this most recent HOH where she eliminated Lauren, you got to put Morgan up, because she is the biggest threat to win this game right now. I mean, if I were whoever wins HOH, if I were Ava, Keanu, Ashley, or Ava, Keanu, Ashley, who am I missing? Ava, Keanu,
Ashley,
and Vince.
Vince. And Vince, we'll put it this way. If Vince wins HOH, he's not putting Morgan up. That's his number one.
Right.
And Ashley's not putting her up. So Keanu or Ava have to win HOH for Morgan to go up. But if any of those three, Ashley, Morgan, or Vince, wins HOH this week, or no, well, Morgan can't. So if Ashley or Vince win HOH, Morgan is safe another week, I guess, unless a POV gets played, take her off. But there's so many different combinations here. But that's
all right, Steve. Let's take one more question and we'll wrap this up over here.
Yeah.
What do you think of the zings? Funny or not?
Well, we kind of already mentioned that. We'll take one more because you guys both think Zingbot's no good.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's funny.
I just don't think it's funny at all. No, no. It's just so campy and so corny and just not funny at all.
Well, here, I'll elaborate on that. Do you think Zingbot's dead? He's gone because he died in the episode, or he'll be back next year?
Just like last year, they made us think that Janky was dead, and then he came back in the finale, and they ended the season singing that silly song. So, no, I think Zingbot's alive.
Zingbot's alive.
Especially since he was killed by Mastermind, who this is the first season. Like, you're really going to bring somebody on for the first season, and that's going to end Zingbot? Oh, by the way, you can answer this question for me. Has Zingbot been around since – how long has this thing been around? So is it season 1? Or
I don't know. He was on 11.
He was on 11.
He was on 11? Okay.
I don't know his debut season, but he was on 11. Okay. That's a good trivia question.
Because we didn't watch Big Brother before we were on.
Right.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
No, when you're in the jury house, or not the jury house, when you're on your way to the show, I caught up on a couple seasons, and then you stay in a hotel for like a week before. So I did watch some seasons before that.
Yeah. So if he's been there since 11, I mean, I'm guessing that wasn't his first season. So I just can't imagine them killing off Zingbot from a character they just introduced this season with, you know.
And he's such a staple to the show.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, he's a staple to the show. All right, let's take one more and then we're getting out of here. We can't end on Zingbot.
Seeing Lauren on her socials, she is so bubbly and fun. Does the house take away some of that maybe fear? Could be television, you know, and then you're live, you're in front of an audience. Like you were saying, you're in that house. When you go in that house, you don't see anyone but your house guests. And then when you walk out and you actually see people and you've been locked in that house for, we were in there, I was in there 72 days. So when I walked out, I was like, oh my gosh, there's people exist.
Yeah.
I know that sounds stupid.
It's a trip, man. It's a trip.
Your mind goes somewhere else. And I do remember like finale, and me and Natalie were walking out. And I was like, I don't want to walk out. I remember kind of thinking that in my head, like, I'm not ready to go out. I want to go out the back door. I don't want to go out the front door and see everybody because I hadn't seen anyone.
Yeah. Even though you had just won, even though you were excited about
I was like nervous about walking out because you don't know if people like you. You know, I didn't watch the show before I was on it. And I was like, oh my God, people probably hate me. And I was scared. I know that sounds silly, but I was excited. I remember my heart feeling like it was going to pop out of my chest. And I was just so nervous. And I didn't want to talk to Julie because I was like, what is she going to ask me?
Yeah. It's a trip. When it's all said and done, Steve, I say this all the time on the show, but they need to do something like a behind the scenes when the show's all done and kind of do a psychological and interview some players that went through some more, you know, deeper things and how the show is run 24/7 and how they cut it and all the people that work. There's so much behind the scenes that the regular audience doesn't know. And I worked with CBS for years after that and got to see some other things. It's a machine, and the way they do it, I don't think the audience has an appreciation of, you know, so they try to put up a new twist, do something like they did this year. And it seems like the audience didn't like the backfire when Rachel left. It wasn't Big Brother gameplay. So just the way they produce that and get ideas out, you don't know what's going to work or what doesn't work. So it goes a lot deeper than the audience knows, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I mean, Jordan, like I said, I didn't watch your season, but were you a popular winner? Like, did people like the fact that Jordan won, or were you like villainized, or like, I mean, like your housemates obviously voted for you, but the outside world, how have you been viewed in Big Brother lore? I don't even know.
I don't know. I wasn't a villain. I was not like a comp beast. It was more so like a more social game. I just laid low the whole time. To be honest with you, my first season, I'll be 100% honest, I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was going to a house up in the hills somewhere. I didn't watch the show. They told me to watch it before I went on. I was a 22-year-old kid and had never left North Carolina before, like never been on the West Coast. So it was just all shocking to me. I thought the TV in the house, we got to watch TV. I didn't know that meant like Julie was there. So I think that was the best part for me, is going in there blindly, not knowing what was going on and what to expect. Because I think if I knew how it was and how hard it was mentally, I probably wouldn't have even done the show.
Yeah, well, we aligned pretty early. I mean, you were going to get a jaded view because I think she did good. But when you bring up winners, Jordan's name is never in that category. No one brings her up. But I thought our season was great. People never mention it as one of the great seasons, but we went at it pretty hard.
I think it was good drama.
It was a lot of drama. So if you go back and watch it, I think there was a lot of drama. People weren't scared to say what they wanted to say back then.
It kind of was like old school reality.
Yeah.
You know, we would, the first week we were all going at it.
I was gonna say, were they yelling? Like, because people don't yell at each other anymore. There's never fights anymore, really. Like,
we were all.
Jordan chest bumped some guy in the house.
So Jordan, for someone who never watched the show and had never been on the West Coast, why did they even want you as a contestant? What made you even apply to a show that you had never even watched before? Like now they're casting super fans. They love casting super fans. How did you even get on the show?
I was working at I worked at like an upscale like bowling alley. I had 3 jobs. And I worked at a hair salon. I was like a bartender at like this nightclub on Tuesdays. And then I worked at this upscale bowling alley. Again, I was 22 years old. And this lady approached me. And I guess she was watching me wait on my tables and was like, have you ever thought about doing reality television? And I was like, no. And then she was like, I think you should try out for this Big Brother. I'm doing the casting here. So I didn't show up. I was supposed to meet her at this bar in Charlotte, and I didn't show up because I was like, nobody's going to cast me. Nobody would want me. And I didn't show up for it. And then she reached out to me again and was like, will you please meet me at the Hilton in downtown Charlotte? And I had my brother go with me just in case she wasn't legit, in case it was sketchy. And if anybody, I always share this, if anybody knows my brother, he would be the one to push me in front of the robber and take and save himself. So he wasn't really a good person to take. But yeah, I had my brother go with me. And then I don't know. You know, when you don't care about something and you don't really want it. And I was myself, and I was a lot wilder back then. And I think I just said what was on my mind and blunt. And I think that, I don't know.
Yeah, we got Steve. We'll jump on your show and tell the whole story. But
yeah, I definitely want to have you guys on. I definitely want to have you guys on to talk about it, and we'll go that route where I get to ask you about that, and then getting into podcasting and raising a family. I think that's really cool because I cover a show that fosters marriages and possibly children sometime in the bachelor world, and so seeing reality TV relationships, I'm really curious about your guys' start, and then going back. And then I know you did Amazing Race together. I know what place you finished in, but I know that has caused friction in some relationships when I've watched that season. But I don't know. I have no idea how you guys did. Did you fight? Did you hate each other after that? You needed.
That's way too. We got to put these kids to bed. I got work at 5 a.m. But yeah, Steve, I appreciate you coming on. We'll catch up another time. You're part of the Yay family. How do people find you and watch your stuff, Steve?
Yeah, just all my socials are at Reality Steve. I got my Reality Steve podcast. That's daily, Monday through Friday. And then I have a weekly podcast that comes out on Thursdays. That's an interview podcast where I interview content creators, former reality show contestants, all sorts of people. And I've been doing that since 2016. And then my daily started about 3.5 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. So yeah, Reality Steve podcast. You can get it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All right, Steve, we appreciate you
jumping on. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate the chat. We went long, but we both love Big Brother. The audience loves Big Brother. Sorry we didn't get to a lot of questions, but we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back again next Thursday, probably 8:15, our regular time. So check us out, 8:15 Mountain Time. And Steve, we'll catch up after we're all done with this, man. But thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, you guys.